Yeah, hi Jeff Prentice. This is part two of presenting four designs on one canvas. Now, in part one, we talked about a drawing directly on the presentation canvas, but let me flatten this and show you a different methodology. I'm going to select all. I'm going to fill it with white, okay, so that we have a blank canvas again. The other method that we'll be using with more robust thumbnails, color studies, and design is to have our presentation canvas 1024-768, and we'll create our designs separately on a larger canvas and then flatten them and bring them over and present them. Right? I've covered this in other tutorials, but let's focus in on it. Keep in mind that there is a third way, which is stacking, in which the rule for web format is that you should only scroll one way. Here we don't have to scroll at all if you have a decent sized monitor. But if I really wanted to stack four full-size designs, I could put them on a 650 or an 800 wide canvas, and I could make it as tall as I wanted. But let's just talk about four designs on this. Now I'm going to do File New, 600, 800, okay? And I'm going to immediately put a little border on it, just so I don't forget. Extra layer here. I could call this border. Why do we have a border? We don't need a border if the background is black, right? Or dark. But we do need a border if the background is white, so we can contain the composition, since in Design Fundamentals we're discussing composition. We're not just doing floating logos and things like that. So just remember, it's specific to this course especially. Now, I want to do an edit stroke. So I have my border on there. When I resize this, it's going to be pretty small, but it's still going to work. Now I can do my design. Let's carry on with what we were discussing previously. Let's just do it a different way. So let's do many, few. There's few, and then here let's do many. We'll do some smaller ones and some some bigger ones. So let's say and I'm going to go off the frame. I'm going to do some overlapping. I'm going to basically try to, and this is where the design component comes in. How can I best do many and few? You notice I'm doing it kind of haphazardly. The next thing I would want to play with is if I did it all very, very organized, so that they were all in a row like a bunch of soldiers. So let's imagine that this is my many few. Okay. Normally, what I would do with a more robust kind of assignment where we had more at stake is I would have you save this as a master and name it, as Master Design 1, and with all the layers, and then I would have you duplicate it and flatten it. But for the sake of brevity here, I am going to, flatten this entire canvas, or this entire design, so I can copy it over to my master, which I believe this is my master, right? No, that's 600, 800. Okay, I don't want that one. All right, there's my master. All right, good. So I'm going to again, I could do an image duplicate and flatten it if I really wanted to make sure that I maintained all the layers. Let's go ahead and do that just to be safe. Whether you're like basically the rule I follow is if I go to all the trouble to make something, I want to maintain a copy of that somewhere that has all the layers. If I go to the trouble of scanning something, I'm going to save my scan immediately, and then I'm going to take it in and manipulate it. Always have a backup. So I'm going to flatten this, select all, okay, which is Apple layer, Control A, Control C. All right, and then I'm going to go over to my master canvas, and I'm going to do Control V, Control T, hold down my Shift key, and here we get into the old, format. I showed you how to make kind of a template here, and you would want to kind of figure out how big these are. Notice the mistake I made. I hit enter and I've already resized this down. What if I decided I wanted to make it bigger? Do not do this. Okay? It's going to get all blurry. So let me do multiple undos. What I would recommend doing is setting up exactly how you want this thing, how big you want these things to be. before you get to this point. I'm going to get rid of my guides here. You can always size down, but you cannot size up. Now for my next one, I might want to duplicate this over as for placeholders. Okay. And I'm going to go over then and I'm going to do another design. Maybe I'll use rectangles or circles or some other geometric shapes, or maybe even some shapes that I've created by hand. Okay. But I will make my second design and I will do the same thing. I'll flatten, copy, I'll paste it over here. I'll go over and make another design. Okay. Flatten, copy, I'll paste over here. I'll do my labeling, sign it, you know, and then I'll be done. So you see the difference. One is drawing what we did previously in example 1 is we drew directly on a small rectangle. On method 2, we created a larger design and then transferred it over to here. The first method is good for just little exercises where you're playing around with concepts. This would be mandatory for more advanced projects as we get farther along, where you have where you're going to pick one of these designs and then flesh it out for final presentation.